let me ask you this, Congressman. With Purdue and Kemp going head-to-head, and then you had the president siding with Purdue, or backing Purdue, rather, did it damage the party in any way, do you think? Because it leads to a lot of ammunition for ads for the Democratic Party to use in November, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I would like to think that the Republican Party in Georgia has learned their lesson in what happened with the senatorial runoffs almost 16 months ago, and when people didn't get out and vote. You see that we've had record voter turnouts this year in the primary here, and that's important to note. And many of those have been former Democratic voters who have voted Republican. And that's significant as well. So I think we've learned our lessons, and I think people understand, Republicans understand, we've got to get out, we've got to support our candidates, because policies have consequences.
The numbers come in for number one, Kemp, and for Herschel Walker. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, really no surprise at either one of them. Look, Brian Kemp has done a wonderful job as governor and deserves to be reelected, and I think he will be. He's got a rematch with Stacey Abrams. I think he's going to do exceptionally well. It should be a good year for Republicans, and certainly Brian will be able to run on his record, which is a very strong record, so I feel really good. Kudos to David Perdue. We were very fortunate in the Republican primary to have two fine candidates. I think people lose sight of that. They want to talk about, the Trump endorsement and all this stuff, but the fact of the matter is we had two good candidates, and look, I can remember a time when we had trouble recruiting Republicans to run statewide, so to have two good candidates, I think, speaks very well of our party. Herschel Walker, you can see that coming. Listen, I watched him run over people in college when he was playing, and in high school when he was playing ball, and I knew that he was going to do well, and he's going to win in November as well. He's going to beat Raphael Warnock.
So far, the election has, from what I understand, and I'm basing it on Liberty County, I went down there, interviewed their registrar. It's been pretty smooth for the most part. All this hoopla and talk about the election not being fair to minority members. What's your take on that? Seeing you mentioned that the numbers were high this time.
Absolutely. I mean, Stacey Abrams and the Democrats want to talk about voter suppression. Well, we got record turnouts, and that should indicate right there that there hasn't been voter suppression. The Election Integrity Act that was passed by the Georgia State Legislature made cheating harder, but it made voting easier. More people are voting now, and it achieved its purpose. And now we've got one of the best voting systems in the nation. This should be a template for other states to follow what we've done here in the state of Georgia in the way of voting rights.
Now, you ran unopposed on the Republican side, but you're going to face an opposition member from the Democratic Party this November. How confident are you that you will prevail in November? Because you know they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you, and a lot of money, and we're talking about outside money, may come into the state to defeat you.
Absolutely. Well, look, we're ready. There are only two ways to run, unopposed and scared. So we will run scared, and it's very important. We'll do what we've got to do. We'll run on our record, and I think we've got a great record. I recognize that there are some people who don't like the way that I vote sometimes, but that's okay. I vote for my district, and I want to make sure that our district is represented. This is my home. This is where I've lived all my life, where I intend to live the rest of my life, and this is a job that I take very serious and that I work very hard at. So I'll work hard in the campaign. We'll put up a good fight, and we feel very confident that the voters are going to send us back for another term.